Now the tips for Thursday and Friday are exactly the same as Tuesday and Wednesday. All I'm doing is eating different foods. So for example, Thursday and Friday, what I'm eating for breakfast is a large salad, avocado, and sprouted nuts. So now what we're going to do is talk about soaking and sprouting. Now sprouted nuts and seeds are really easy. All you have to do is soak them ahead of time and then leave them to sprout on a sprouting tray or a colander, or even an upside down sprouting jar. So my tip for those who soak or sprout is to make sure that you soak and sprout your food on the day all of the food arrives from the grocery store. So let's just take my life as an example. My husband goes grocery shopping on Thursday, and then that means that I put all the food away on that Thursday when he comes home. And let's say as I'm putting this food away, what I do is I'll take out, let's say, the mung beans and I'll put them in a bowl of water. So I'll do that because I know that that needs preparation. And then let's say I'll take the buckwheat and I'll put that in a bowl of water. And let's say I know that 2 days later after my buckwheat hummus, I'm going to have sprouted nuts. So I'll take my nuts and seeds and I'll put that in water. So everything is basically soaking at the same time. So if I have things that need to be sprouted, they'll be ready to sprout later on in the week. But basically all the food prep is being considered at once, which is a big rule that I have. Make 25 to 50% of the food at one time in your week. So that means that you need to have a designated meal prep day where again, you could prepare 25 to 50% of your food at one time. So I could easily make 25 to 50% of my week's worth of food with the menu that I showed you. For example, on one day, I could easily make the buckwheat hummus, the seed bread, the different types of dressings like the basil dressing or the tahina dressing, the mung bean stew, and sprout the nuts that I'm going to have later on the week. And if I even wanted to, I could make my sweet potatoes for Thursday, Friday in advance. And that's really, really easy. I could do that all in one day. And the reason why I know that I could do that all in one day is because I planned it ahead of time. As I'm writing my meal plan, I circle all the things that I could create at one time. So on my designated meal prep day, which tends to be Thursday night or Friday morning, not only do I consider what I can make all at one time, but I also consider how many servings of that food I can make for the following weeks. So I'm not just making food for that day, I'm making food for many days to come, or even many weeks to come. And it's all easy to do because I thought about it for 2 minutes ahead of time. And that's what this meal planning process is about. It's about strategy so that you could know what you're doing in advance and therefore invest less time in the process. So another thing that's really important that we discuss on this meal plan is the fun meal. The fun meal is the best meal. So this fun meal is really important because it's the 10% of my schedule that allows for me to be diligent in the 90%. It's the 10% of fun, it's the 10% of excitement, it's the 10% of oomph that allows for me to be diligent and disciplined and intentional with the meals that I eat throughout the week that are nourishing and healthful. So it's really important that you schedule a fun meal or a fun day for yourself. Now, I intentionally use the word fun meal as opposed to cheat meal because cheat meal implies something that's not supposed to happen. It implies bad, it implies that I'm not eating in the way that I'm supposed to be eating, etc. And I don't approve of that message at all. I think people need to have a balance of what's nurturing and what's healthful and what's fun and celebratory. And if you don't have that 10%, it's going to make the 90% harder. So therefore, we use the term fun meal because it is supposed to happen, it has a function, it has a purpose, and it's supposed to be enjoyable, but like 100% enjoyable. So the important part of a fun meal is that you should schedule it just like you schedule all your other food. You might not know exactly what you're going to eat on your fun meal, but you should know when it's happening. And I actually do like to know what I'm going to be having for fun that week. Because if I know, for example, that I'm going to be eating something really, really exciting at the end of the week and I'm looking forward to it, I now have more strength and stamina to eat the things in my week that maybe I don't find so enjoyable or maybe not satisfactory in the same way. So if I know that I have something to look forward to, I'm more inclined to stay with my health trajectory. And so therefore, it's also important that you plan your fun meals. Whether it's 1 fun meal a week, 2 or 3, plan it out, when you're going to have it and what you're going to have, and you'll see that you'll be more intentional with what you're eating. So the next step in the menu planning process is like this. So you've already figured out what you and your household want to eat. Fantastic. Now you have to create a grocery list. And so that's obviously obvious. And the next step that's obviously obvious is that you have to take stock of everything that you have in your house so that you know what you need in order to fulfill your menu. But this is what I would like to suggest, and this is what I always do. I always write my shopping list on the back of my menu. That's really key. And the reason why it's key is because I am a forgetful person, and so is everyone else. So what I like to do is I like to write down my grocery list on the back of my meal plan. And the reason why I do that is so that when my husband is going grocery shopping, he has both the rough draft and the final draft in his hands. And he could be my editor. He could look at the grocery list and at the menu and say, oh, she said that we're gonna have nut-crusted salmon, but she totally forgot to put nuts on the grocery list. So he'll either do one of two things. He'll either call me up and say, hey, did you forget to write nuts on the list? Or do we already have? Or he'll just assume that I forgot and then purchase it, which is not a big deal because I could always use it for another time, even if we did have it. Now remember, we said that you're going grocery shopping once a week. That means that you have to make sure that you have a grocery list for all the different stores that you need to go to make sure that you have all the ingredients on your meal plan. So if you take a look at my example shopping list, you will see what I mean. So here we go. Here is my meal plan for this last week, right? And so after I finished writing down my menu with my husband, I then immediately turned the page and wrote down my grocery list on the back of my menu plan. Now, so you could see here, I go to a few different stores. I go to a conventional supermarket, I go to a health food store, sometimes I even go to a bakery. Now, depending on what I'm going to be making, I'm going to have to go to a few different stores to get it. Sometimes you could find everything that you want in one store, and sometimes that's just not reality. So what we do is we generally plan one grocery shopping day, and my husband goes to all the stores at one time. Typically, this takes us between an hour to 2 hours, more likely 2 hours, but we're able to get it all done, and it's fantastic. Now, there are a few things that I wanted to mention about this grocery list, besides the fact that it's in the back of my menu, right? So one, it's on the back of my menu. Two, I wrote down the grocery list for all the stores on the back of my menu, and I'm going to all the stores at one time. The next thing that I wanted to point out was how I wrote down my grocery list. So you see, for example, if we turn to this conventional store, right? So I have, let's say, 6 lettuces, 3 celery, 2 boxes of sprouts. The reason why I put that first on my grocery list was because I know that that's what my husband is going to see first when he goes grocery shopping. So I tend to put things in order of what's going to be seen first in the store. If I put things in an out of order way or format, then I'm going to miss things. I might forget to buy something because let's say canned tuna. That was the first thing that came to my brain, but canned tuna at the top of the list, where canned tuna is actually available at the end of the grocery store. So I might forget to circle back to that one ingredient. And that's why when I write a grocery list, I always write it in order of what my husband or myself is going to see first as we go shopping. And then obviously don't forget to incorporate non-food essentials, like for example, diapers, laundry detergent, paper towels, whatever it is that you need, because if you're just going there for food, you're going to have to go again for all the other stuff. And remember, we wanted to cut down on shopping time, not increase it. So really, mucho importante to write your grocery list on the back of your menu and to incorporate everything in a logical order with food and non-food essential items. So what we essentially did was go through my meal planning process for this last week. Now what I want to do is go through another example menu so that you could see how you could make this easy for your meal planning process. So meal plan number 2. This is more reflective of what my family and myself would eat throughout the week. And I just wanted to go over a few more essential points, again, so that your meal planning process could be really easy. So if you take a look here, I'm just going to scan through this so that you could see it. But you see, again, we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and a variety of different snacks, and it goes throughout the week. And again, I set things up in blocks, right? So either 3 blocks or 2 blocks. 2 blocks meaning that I have 3 repetitive food days, and 3 blocks meaning that I have 2 repetitive food days. So for example, for breakfast, it's the same Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But for lunches, I vary it up every 2 days, as I do for dinner as well. Essentially, what I wanted to do was just guide you through some of the things that we had discussed. So for example, we said on breakfast on Sunday, I'm making buckwheat pancakes with cilantro trina and sliced cucumbers, and that's just dynamite. Now the buckwheat pancakes are things that I can make in bulk. I make them Sunday morning, and then I make more for Monday and Tuesday. I make them all at one time. And because it's a baked good, I will freeze the remaining buckwheat pancakes for Monday and Tuesday in the freezer. And that way they stay fresh and they don't dry out in the fridge. Then for lunch, I'm making hummus and vegetable sticks, right? Or hummus and vegetable sticks, tomato. And so we're going to discuss this, but one important thing that's really, really important for you to do is think about quick meals. Think about simple, quick meals that you could make that either don't take a lot of time for you to make or don't take a lot of time for you to eat, so that if you know that you're going to have, let's say, a really busy week or a really busy time of your week, that you could plan quick meals in that process. And if you do, for example, on Sunday and Monday, I have really busy clinic days. And so hummus and vegetable sticks are really easy things for me to eat that fill me up. So that, even though it's not like a fantastic lunch, it's satisfactory and it serves its purpose. And then, for example, salmon and curry sauce. Remember what we talked about dressing and sauces? Sauces are things that you could make in bulk. So let's say that curry sauce, I could make that for now, and I could make it for other curry sauces in the future. And that way I save a lot of time. And then remember the next point that we said in regards to our snacks. Let's say the almonds, the walnuts, the banana, the fruit packs, and the oat cereal for my daughter. Those are things that I prepare ahead of time. I put them in the right place at the start of the week. So since I'm having nuts for my snacks this week, I'm going to place them in my office on Sunday or the start of the week, whatever day that is for you. And so then some of the points just continue on. So for example, on Tuesday, I have a large salad with olive and lemon dressing. The olive and lemon dressing is something that I can make in advance and then freeze. Quinoa, again, is something that I can make in advance and then freeze on that food prep day. So let's say, for example, even though my food prep day might be, let's say, Thursday night, maybe Saturday night, I could still make my quinoa for Tuesday on that, let's say, Thursday night or Saturday night, since anyways, it's either going to be in the fridge or in the freezer. Why not just get it over with at the start of the week? Then the next thing, again, we said with the lentil soup, that's something that I could make in advance. I could either soak the lentils and have that ready for another time, or I could make many servings extra of lentil soup and then freeze in individual containers. And I could actually do the same with my oven-baked sweet potato fries, because again, anything that's cooked, baked, stir-fried is something that you could easily freeze for the future. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you see I'm making my delicious chocolate peanut butter buckwheat muffins. Again, I can make those in bulk. Typically would make that Tuesday night, and so therefore I have it available for me on Wednesday. If I don't feel like these muffins are going to stay fresh, then I'll freeze my Thursday and Friday's batch and just thaw it out in the oven the morning of. So again, that's something to consider. One thing that you could do if you're making food on multiple days, like let's say, for example, I didn't decide to make my chocolate peanut butter muffins, let's say Thursday night or Saturday night when I generally do my food prep. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note and I'm going to write a Post-it and post it on my fridge or fill out a food prep calendar. And I'm going to put a reminder that this is something that I have to make on Tuesday night. Because sometimes if I don't have that reminder, I'm going to forget. Now, here's the deal. All of these menu plans are available to you, again, the link below this video. And you could take a look at it in your own time. Now you guys got to see how I generally meal plan. How I meal plan, let's say, for a detox week, how I meal plan for a normal week, and there's even another meal plan that's available for you guys to look at on your own time. All I wanted to do was show you examples, and then within those examples, show you how you could make your life easier. But there's one more thing that's really important to note in your meal planning process. What happens if you and your significant other, or you and yourself, or you and the members of your household get together and you're just like, what are we supposed to eat this week? So what I suggest is that you write down all the things that you either enjoy eating or typically like making. So this has nothing to do with your meal planning process, in the sense that you don't have to do this at the same time that you're meal planning. If you're the type of person that's saying, okay, I'm committed to having an organized routine with my food schedule, what I would like for you to do is just anyways, on a piece of paper, write down the things that you enjoy eating. What do you like to eat? What can you make? What's easy for you? And just have a reference of all those items, so that if you're ever in a position where you're at the time where you have to write your meal plan and you're just like clueless as to what it is that you're going to eat that week, you could always reference this page and say, oh yeah, I really like lentil stew, or oh, I really like Moroccan stew. So if you're ever in the position where you're sitting down to write your meal plan and you're just like, what do I want to eat this week? You always have a piece of paper to reference. A piece of paper that shows you the things that you enjoy eating or the things that you could easily make, both for you and your family. So essentially, there should be multiple lists on this paper. One for you and your spouse, if you guys have the same food preferences, or another for the people in your household that have different food preferences. And so that way you always have a reference, because sometimes you have a crazy week, you feel pressured to write the meal plan, and you're just like, what do I like? So you always have a reference, and that's just as important as any other part in this process. So at some convenient time, write down a list of the things that you like to eat, that you enjoy making. And then anytime you get a new recipe that you really liked, or you got a new idea for something that you could easily make, add it to the list, add it to your reference. So it's even something that you could have available for yourself when you're meal planning, right? You could be sitting down and looking at your reference sheet and saying, oh, these are the things that we could easily eat this week. And then you put it down on a piece of paper, and then the rest of the process is exactly what we discussed. Now I have another suggestion when it comes to freezing things and having things in bulk. Now this is a really easy suggestion, particularly if you own a crock pot, a slow cooker, a pressure cooker, doesn't matter. If you have one of these items, this will be really easy and will save you a lot of time. My suggestion is that on your food prep days, you create freezer bags for your crock pot. So what this essentially means is that you're putting everything that you would put into your crock pot into a bag and you freeze it. So let's say, for example, you're making a Moroccan stew, right? So you're putting in lentils, you're putting in rice, you're putting in chopped vegetables like carrots and celery and all that other wonderful stuff. And you put in the herbs and the spices that you would put into your Moroccan stew, even the different types of oils and fixes, etc. So essentially anything that would go into the crock pot, you're putting into this bag. And then what you do is you take out all the air from the Ziploc bag, you flatten it out, and you put it into the freezer in layers. And essentially what this allows for you to do is have meals at the ready. So you could easily now take this frozen meal and put it into your crock pot, let's say in the morning before you go to work. You turn your crock pot on with a timer, and then by the time you get home, or by the time your children get home, if they get home before you, now there is a ready-made meal. And you didn't have to really invest so much time in it, right? In the food prep day, the day that anyways you're preparing food, you just threw a bunch of stuff in bags. And you can make a variety of different types of bags. You flatten them out and you label them. And then you easily organize them in the fridge so that every morning all you have to do is take out one of these freezer bags, one of these crock pot bags. You open it up, you just throw it into the crock pot, and you are good to go. And that's another thing that you could prepare for in your meal planning process or in your meal prep process. That is a really easy strategy. So if you don't have so much time to make the food, let's say multiple times throughout the week, again, you can make it all at once, put it in bags, freeze it, and then the morning of, just take it out, put it in a crock pot, have a timer, you're good to go. It was easy, it's healthy, and it's safe. And essentially, you could have 20 of these bags ready for you in the freezer. So not only can you make them for the week, you can make them for the entire month. There's not much more to do besides chopping vegetables and then placing things in bags. So it's a really simple solution. Now, if you've liked this video, fantastic! Give us a like, write a comment down below, or better yet, subscribe so that you could be a part of our community and get more information on lifestyle, on nutrition and health, and on mindset. Mwah! Ciao bella!